Hey guys, Trin here, and welcome back to my recap reviewing for Only Friends Dream On. So, episode 2 just came out, so we need to have a chat. As always, I'm going to recap the episode first, then we will get into thoughts, feelings, and predictions. But now we're at episode 2, so I'm going to add a second section like reacting to some of the predictions I may have had last time, and if any of those predictions were correct. So I will have new thoughts and feelings, but I would also like to talk about the thoughts and feelings I was mentioning last time. Now, predictions I may have had may not have necessarily come true in this episode, but it doesn't mean that they won't come true in future episodes. Like after watching episode 2, I remember in episode 1 I was dying to know why Dean and Jack broke up. We have not found that out yet, but come on, we're going to find that out at some point. But either way, this is my episode 2 recap and review, so let's jump right into it. The episode starts with a little bit of a time jump. So we go back in the past, 2 years ago, when Dean and Jack were together. You can see they're here by this lake. They're having a little picnic. They're having a little chat. Dean's being a bit like, oh, like we're supposed to be hanging out and you're just like reading this book. But this scene is semi-important because it's where Jack gets his idea for Romeo and Romeo. So Dean, as I say, Dean and Rafi, Dean and Jack are chatting, and like basically Dean's all, no matter which way you look at it, they're gonna die in the end. And Jack's like, well, hang on a minute, maybe they don't have to. And so they chat a little bit about that. And then Dean got Jack an anniversary present. He got him a necklace. He put it on him. And then they like kissed for a bit. But it was quite playful because Jack was a bit like, dude, we're out in public, not now. And Dean's like, literally no one's here. Like, why do you care? But it was actually cute and adorable. And it was good to get an insight into what Jack and Dean were like beforehand. Like, this was actually a really interesting scene to see. Then, after the scene, we go into title credits. Now we are back to the present. So, this is the morning after the one night stand that Earth and Mix had just last night. So, for some reason, Jack wakes up and the first thing he decides to do is have a morning cigarette. So, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a little issue going in there, because tell me why the first thing you do when you wake up is have a cigarette. Like, I feel like that's not normal. But, anyways, he has a cigarette and Dean wakes up. And Dean's a bit pouty, like, oh, like, come back to bed, let's cuddle some more. But Earth is so out of the phase. Not Earth, that's the actor that plays Jack. Jack is so out of the phase and is like, yeah, I know that we fought last night, but this is over now. I have rehearsals to get to. Like, you need to pack up and leave. Like, I've got stuff to do. I don't want to be late. And yeah, so Dean's like pouty about it, and he tries to, he wraps his arms around his waist and tries to, like, are you sure about that? And Jack is very sure about that. Dean takes a photo of Jack, and Jack's all like, whoa, what are you doing? You can't post that. Dean's like, I'm not posting shit. This is just for me. And then they cut away to like an interview thing where like Dean confirms, yeah, no, I just felt like taking a photo. Now we are at the theatre. So Arnold's doing a bit of a read through of like a love confession scene with, of course, Timmy, Tua, and Jack in the audience watching how he's doing. He's not doing the best. And so Jack has the idea that maybe he should forget the script and try improvising. He at first is like, Timmy, go on up there, help him out. And Timmy's like, I can't act, like, don't ask me. And Tua laughs a little bit, and Tua, baby, you laugh. You volunteer in his place. Because then Jack looks to you and says, Tua, you go up there then. You help him out. So Tua goes up and helps Arnold out. And it's basically just Arnold improvising, and I think two is just there for effect. But Jack's like, oh, do anything you like to make him melt. Smile, say nice things. You can touch his arm, you can basically touch him wherever. Just anything that will make Tua melt. So Arnold goes for it, and oh my god, does he go for it! Like, things that are so real in Arnold and Tua's friendship. Like, I'm gonna insert a picture of Tua's face. Oh my god. So, because in the beginning, Arnold's like, oh, and like, how long have we been mates for? And like, it's fine, it's a whatever. But then it got to the point where Tua was like, oh my god, how do you remember this stuff? Because Arnold's like, how many times have I let you ride on the back of my motorcycle? And Tua's like, oh, like, I don't know, but like, who's even really counting that? Arnold counted 42 times. And Tua is just there and he's like, you counted that? Like, we're not even, like, we're just mates. You counted that? And then, again, it continues on because Arnold's like, and you do realize that, like, when I offer people rides home on the back of my motorcycle, I basically don't offer it to anyone except for you. You are the only person who I have ever offered to get on the back of my motorcycle, right? And again, Tua's face is just like, whoa, like, and I feel so sad for Tua in this moment because Tua has an actual crush on Arnold. And you can just see his face where it's like, you are breaking my heart because I know that at the moment I don't think that you feel the same. But you're being a really, like, amazing friend right now. Like, the expression on his face just says everything. And then Jack yells, cut, and Arnold comes back and is like, so how did I do? So we're in this kind of like common area of the university, and Timmy is making an announcement because Jack has decided on who he's going to cast as Romeo and Romeo. Remember, Jack is doing a play, Romeo, Romeo, a gay version of Romeo and Juliet with a happy ending. So he's casted his Romeo as in Romeo and he's casted his Romeo as in Juliet, and we are just about to find out. Everyone is very, very anticipating this. A lot of people are wondering if it's going to be Dean that gets it or if it will be somebody else for a change. Raffi auditioned. There's a couple of people who auditioned and things like that. So Jack is finally going to make his choice. So he picked Arnold for the role of Romeo as in Romeo and picked Dean for the role as Romeo as in Juliet. So, oh my god. So Raffi is so pissed. Raffi is so pissed that he didn't get the role. Jack tries to smooth things over and it's like, oh, but I'll give you one of the support roles. Like, you're still going to act in this. But Raffi is just so annoyed and pissed and is like, well, if I didn't get the lead, I don't really want any role. So he basically tells Jack, like, nah, fuck your role. Like, I'm just going to be behind the camera instead. Because he is just so pissed at the fact that he didn't get the Romeo role. But the differences in the way that Dean and Arnold accepted these roles, though, like, Arnold was very, oh my god, thank you so much. Like, I'm so appreciative. And then Dean's like, I had this in the bag. This role was meant to be mine. Like, very, like, he expected that he was going to get it. There's a scene which I'll talk about later in the episode where Jack and Dean are chatting and is like, oh, thanks for choosing me for the role. And Jack's like, I didn't choose you because we had sex together. I genuinely chose you because of your talent, which I'll get to that, but that's later in the episode. But yeah, so Arnold and Dean are going to be acting together in this play. Raffi goes to swim in the university pool. I think that swimming might be a way that he lets off some steam, perhaps, or he could just really like swimming. Turns out Rome is swimming in the lane right next to him. This annoys Raffi even more because, like, oh, this guy just, like, shows up everywhere in my life. Like, I had sex with him once and I kind of wanted to never see this man again. But now I'm seeing this man, like, everywhere and it's, like, pissing me off even more sort of vibes. But Rome wants to talk to Raffi because Raffi owns him a new turntable, considering at Pink's a couple of nights ago, he spilled a drink all over Raffi, all over Rome's turntable and destroyed it. So he owes Rome a new turntable. And Rome's like, you're going to come with me to the shop and you're going to pay for it, but you're going to come with me. You're going to help me pick one. And Raffi's like, do I have to come with you? Like, can I just give you the money? And so they gonna have a bet. So the first to 3 laps wins, and if Rome wins, what he wants is for Raffi to come with him to the shop to buy the turntable. And Raffi's like, well, what if I win? And Rome's like, yeah, I'm winning. Like, basically, I'm winning. You're coming with me to the turntable shop. Let's just, like, come on. And yes, lo and behold, Rome wins. So Raffi has to go with him. Jack has decided that he's going to go to this little theatre place because they're having a showing of La La Land. La La Land was a movie, I think it came out in 2016, and it stars both Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, and it is supposedly, I think it's one of Jack's favourite movies. He doesn't explicitly say so, but Dean says it's one of his favourite movies. It was like, oh, our movie or something along those lines, because Dean is originally just planning to go by himself. Sorry, Jack was originally planning to go by himself, but then Dean shows up because Dean is just everywhere Jack is. You want to talk about a guy that just shows up everywhere? Dean, he's just everywhere. Like, he knows Jack's schedule. I wonder if it borderlines on stalker territory, which would be interesting to find out. Anyways, so Dean buys 2 tickets, one for himself, one for Jack, and so they're having a little conversation like, we should see the movie together, you know, favorite movie should be watched with your favorite ex, sort of thing. This is also that scene, by the way, that I was telling you about where Dean thinks he got the role because he slept with Jack, and Jack's like, no, I picked you because you're a talent. And then he proceeds to say, if I were to pick my Romeos based off of who I've had sex with, there'd be more than 2 Romeos, which is like kind of a dig and like to mean that he has had sex with quite a few people recently, I think. So one of Jack's friends, Ice, comes over. Like, oh my God, Jack, like, hi, like, oh my God, you know? And Dean's like, and who is this? And Ice is like, oh, you know, I'm one of Jack's mates, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and Ice basically is like, hey, you're here to see La La Land. Like, maybe we should watch it together. Maybe we need to catch up after. And Dean's like, yeah, of course. Like, let's watch it together. I'll meet you inside. Sort of thing. And so Dean doesn't like this. Dean does not like this at all. Literally, Dean goes, who was that? And Jack goes, one of my Romeos. Basically, to be like, one of the many people I have had sex with. Dean and Ice both find themselves at the snack bar, and Dean orders himself a hot chocolate, and he's chatting with Ice, trying to be nice. We all know that this is fake. We all know that, like, Dean does not like Ice in the slightest because he knows that Jack and Ice have slept together. So Dean's faking it all, but he's like, oh, you know, do you like La La Land? You know, I'm really excited to see this movie. And Ice is like, yeah, it's one of my favorite movies too. I love it. You know, I wanted to come here because they're having a screening, like small talk sort of vibes. And Dean goes, rightio, I'll see you inside. Goes to walk away, accidentally, on purpose, bumps into Ice, spilling his hot chocolate all over him. And he knows he's done that on purpose because he doesn't want Ice going into that theatre and sitting with Jack. He wants to go into that theatre and sit with Jack. So Ice is like, man, what the hell? And Dean tries to be like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I so didn't mean to. Yes, you did. But it's to the point where it's like, well, obviously, Ice isn't watching this movie anymore because he's covered in hot chocolate. So he goes home and Dean goes into the theatre. So Dean sits with Jack and Jack's like, hey, this seat is taken, you know, and Dean's like, this seat's not taken. I don't see anybody sitting here. And Jack's like, well, you know, my friend Ice, like, you know, he was going to watch this movie with me. And Dean's like, yeah, he's not coming. I saw him leave. So, yep, seat's mine. So they end up having to watch the movie together, much to Jack's dislike and much to Dean's delight. back at Tua's house, Arnold's over at Tua's house and they're having dinner. I'm pretty sure it's hot pot they're having. I think so. Anyways, having a drink, having a beer, and they're chatting, and Tua's like, "Hey, you seem a little bit like off, like are you alright?" And Arnold's like, "Yeah, I'm just feeling a little bit on edge. Like I don't know if I'm gonna fit in with everyone at the play." I don't actually know what Arnold's major is. No, I lie. I'm pretty sure he's a dance major because there's like a scene of him dancing in the first episode. I'm pretty sure it's a dance major. But he's never acted before, basically. He's not an acting major. And Tua's like, "Oh no, like it's fine. Like everyone loves you. Like don't stress." And Arnold's like, "I'm also kind of like freaking out because I got a hug and I have to kiss Dean and I just don't really know like." And Tua in the beginning, because Tua has a crush on Arnold. And so Tua is just self indulgent and like, "Ooh, like, do you not want to kiss a boy? Is that what this is?" Like, and Arnold's like, "No, no, like, it's not that I won't kiss a guy. Like, that's fine. It's just I don't kiss people that I'm not close to. Like, if I'm going to kiss someone, it's because I'm close to them, you know?" But Tua again has one of those, "Nah, don't stress. Like, you'll work it out. Like, you'll get closer after the workshops and then you'll kiss him easily. Like, don't stress." And it gets into them basically sharing their first kiss stories. So, Arnold had his first kiss with a girl in junior high. And then Tua goes, "Well, I actually only had my kiss a year ago." And Arnold's like, "Whoa, really?" Like, because basically Tua's like, "I'm a bit of a late bloomer. Like, I only kissed a guy like a year ago." But he's like, "Nah, he was an asshole anyway. And like, I don't really want to talk about it." And I didn't understand when I was watching the episode. When I got to the end of the episode, I was like, I think I know who Tua kissed last year. And I'm going to save what I think about that until my thoughts, feelings, and predictions thing. But in this scene, I was like, "Oh, he kissed some asshole." By the end of the show, I was like, I think I know who he kissed. But I'm not going to reveal that just yet. Wait until later in this YouTube video when I get to my thoughts, feelings, and predictions section. Next section is really short, but Dean comes home from the movie. Remember that Tua and Dean live together. I think because in the first episode, Dean used to live with Jack, but I think he asked if he could crash with Tua for a while because he and Dean broke up. Sorry, because he and Jack broke up and he's got like no place to stay, I think. So, anyways, he's living with Tua. So he comes home and he's like, "Oh, sorry, like, am I infringing?" But then Arnold's like, "No, like, I don't live here. Am I infringing?" And Tua's like, "No, it's fine. Like, the both of you can stay. Like, Dean, pull up a chair. Like, join us. Like, there's plenty of food to go around." And Tua, hilariously, is like, "Dean was just telling me that he's worried about the fact that he has to kiss you on the play." And, oh my God, Arnold's adorable because it's like, "Tua, what the fuck?" And Dean's like, "Nah, don't stress. Like, we'll work it out at the workshops." Like, basically the same thing that Tua said to him. So, Rome and Raffi go to that DJ turntable shop because Raffi owns him a new one. So, we also find out that Raffi is the son of a really famous actress because a woman comes over and says, "Are you Racheli's son?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Raffi." Apparently, it's to the point that people will even ask to take photos with Raffi, and Raffi ain't even the one that's famous because this woman goes, "Oh my God, I'm such a huge fan of your mother. Can I take a photo with you?" And I'm like, it's not even the mother. But he takes the photo anyway. And so Rome, literally, like he said, makes him choose. So he goes, "Pick between these two turntables, like which one do you reckon I should go for?" And Raffi's like, "Well, I'm not the DJ, you're the DJ. Like, you should pick your own table. You've probably got more expertise." And Rome's like, "No, just like, come on, like, which one out of these two?" And so Raffi's like, "Radio, I guess that one." And so Rome wants to test it out a little bit, which is fine. So he's like playing around with it. And Raffi gets a text message from Jack being like, "Hey, can we meet up to talk just the two of us?" And so he's telling Rome, like, "Hey, I gotta go, like an emergency. Like, can I pay for the turntable now?" Like, he's still like respecting the fact that he does owe this guy a new turntable. Happily leaves his card with Rome though, because he's basically leaving because he wants to go and chat with Jack and tells Rome, "Hey, can you get my card for me?" Like, you never wanted to see this man again, yet you're trusting him with your card? Like, It's giving make that makes sense. Jack and Raffi have a little conversation. Jack again having another ciggy, but nothing new for them, apparently. So Jack's like, hey, I really want you to take this support role. I really want you to consider taking this support role. And Raffi's like, why should I? You know? And Jack's like, because Raffi is a bit, like, I don't, like, I wanted the lead. Like, I don't just want to have some little support role. Like, anyone can play a support role. And Jack's like, well, I've basically curated this support role just for you. I only want the best actors on this play. And yeah, you didn't get the Romeo role, but I still think you're really good. And I still want you in this. And hasn't it always been a dream of yours to act in something that I direct? And so Raffi gives in and is like, yeah, all right, I'll be this support role. All right, then. It goes to cutaways, and Raffi's like, the interview section. When I say cutaways, it's like the interview section, okay? So it goes to cutaways, and Raffi's like, well, I mean, he basically begged me, so of course I came back. I was like, bitch, you came back on your own free will. Jack and Dean are having a conversation in the theatre because Dean somehow found out that Raffi has said yes to the support role. And so Dean's like, ew, like, Raffi, really? You couldn't have picked anyone else? Like, really, Raffi? And so Jack and Dean are like, basically, Jack's like, you need to put your professionalism, like, first. So professional matters and personal matters need to be kept separate. I can't, like, Raffi was the best person for this role. Like, personal matters need to be left out of this play and things like that. Then a random side character comes in, and I don't think it even says what his name is. No, that's right, his name is Billy. Billy comes in, but I don't think he's much of a character in the show. He's not even in the title credits. But I think he was the one that was going to do sound for the play. But he comes and he talks to Jack, and he's basically like, hey, so I'm quitting this play because I'm in a band, and we're actually doing quite well at the moment, and I need to give my band full attention. And Jack in the beginning is a bit like, are you serious? Like, this is your last year. Like, you sure? And Billy's like, yeah, like, it was a hard decision, but, my band's doing really, like, I got to seize this opportunity with my band. Like, sorry, but I'm out. Like, I'll come watch the play and support you and stuff, but, like, I'm not going to be in it at all. So Billy goes away, and Jack's a bit like, oh, like, what do I do? Like, I got to get a new guy to do sound. And Dean's like, well, hey, what about Rome? Like, Rome's pretty cool. Like, he does sound. Like, why don't you ask him? And Jack's like, I don't want to work with Rome. Gross. Like, and then Dean throws Jack's words right back at him with the whole, you need to keep professional matters and personal matters separate. If you only don't want to work with Rome because he's your mother's boyfriend's kid, well, you're mixing personal and professional matters, aren't you? Like, oh my God. Like, Dean knows exactly what he's doing. Like, basically being all, if I have to be okay with Raffi, you have to be okay with Rome. And, ooh, it gets to him. It gets to him. But Jack does give in and is like, yeah, all right, I'll talk to Rome. So, Jack goes to Rome's place to talk to Rome. Rome still lives at home with their parents, though, because in a screen grab that I'm not showing you, he's at first, I think, in just their living room because he's asking his mother, like, where's Rome? And then the dad chimes in and is like, well, Rome's usually out, but if he's not out, he's in his room. But I'm sorry, this is his room? This is, like, the coolest room ever. It's like an entire like basement loft, and he's got like this entire wall of like DJ gear and vinyl CDs, the works. Like this, like, I'm going on a little tangent here, but this is one of the coolest places. I would happily live here. This is like so cool and unique and like industrial style, which is coolest thing ever, by the way. So Jack and Rome are talking, and Jack has to ask Rome, like, hey, I really need you to do sound for this play. Will you do it? And Rome at first is like, look at you. You found your way home. And all of like teasing him a little bit. But in the end, yes, Rome says that he will do sound for this play, but he's got one condition. You may be the director, but don't you dare boss me around. Like, artists need freedom to work. And Jack's just like, yeah, right, yeah, right. So Rome has agreed that he will do sound, which is good because, like earlier, Jack needed one ever since that Billy guy quit. Tua and Arnold are doing some cooking slash preparing because Tua is throwing a party. So they like to have a pre-production party. So they get everyone together who's a part of the play, or at least who's in an art major, but I think it's mainly just people who were a part of the play. They're all going to come over to Tua's house. Basically, Tua's throwing a party, but it's like for people who are a part of this play. So not really like anyone can just come to this party. Like, you got to be a part of the play to be invited to this party. So they're chilling, and Arnold is just like, they're kind of just having small talk, like, oh, what's this party about? Like, what's the vibes? And Tua's like, oh, don't even stress too much. It's really just like an excuse for us to get together and drink. um, but, you know, obviously I can't provide some form of food, which is why we're like doing some food right now. But then Tua has a gift for Arnold. He basically got those pop sockets for your phone? So you put them on the back of your phone and like you can hold your phone like without having to hold like the bottom of your phone. Like, you basically don't have to hold the phone, but you're holding the phone. But the design, because obviously you can get 50 million designs, you got like a Terminator design. Because I'm pretty sure at this point in time, Arnold was named after Arnold Schwarzenegger. He hasn't explicitly said that that's what he's named after, but I am pretty sure that that's what he's named after, considering there have been multiple times throughout the show that they kind of make Terminator inside jokes at each other. And Arnold loves the gift that Tua got for him. So I'm pretty sure. Like, don't cry, but I'm like pretty sure. And Arnold loved the gift that Tua got him and thought it was like the coolest thing ever. So Rafi is on his way to the party when a car rolls in behind him, beeps him out of the way, of course, so he doesn't get run over. Lo and behold, Rome's in that car. There wasn't really a wide shot with the both of them in it, but you can see towards the right-hand corner that, you can see that it's in Rome's car. Like, they're filming Rafi from within inside Rome's car. And Rafi's like, what are you doing here? Like, I already gave you the turntable. What else do you want from me? And again, Rome's just like, yeah, chill out. Like, just slow your roll. I'm coming to this party as well. And Rafi's like, why? And then Rome's like, I've been asked by Jack to do sound. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of me. Ah, Rome is so not mad about that. Rome's like, hell yeah, I get to see more of you, because Rome has a big fat crush on Rafi, which Rafi does not return the feelings as of yet. He's clearly returned feelings enough to sleep with the guy, but yeah, Rome's got a big fat crush on Rafi, so he's not mad about the fact that they are going to be working together in the slightest. So the party is kicking off strong. People are vibing, people are having drinks, people are eating. Timmy is somewhat already drunk and is singing karaoke, which prompts Tua to mention that this is a thing he does. Like, why do you always have to sing karaoke when you're drunk, Timmy? And Timmy's like, how dare you? I'm great on karaoke. Like, it's a thing, which I think is like so adorable and funny, and they're just vibing, they're having a good time. Then Dean and Jack return. So when they were chatting, Tua and Arnold in that earlier screen grab, it was like Arnold was asking Tua like, "Oh, is anyone else coming?" And Tua's like, "Oh yeah, Dean and Jack, like, they're out grabbing wine." So this is them returning from that. And I'm pretty sure it's Tua, and he was like, "Well, you guys took a long time." And Dean takes this opportunity to be like, so your director and favorite actor are back again. And so I don't remember who asks the question. I think it might be, is it Rome that says you? Yeah, Rome goes, oh, so you guys are back together, and Jack's like, no, I'm not answering that. And then Timmy's like, oh my God, like, you should say something. Like, you're the director. Like, you should say something. So Jack goes up front and is like, oh, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Like, um, basically like a thank you sort of speech. And then he specifically thanks Raffi for taking on that support role. Like, like I feel like that was such a nice thing for Jack to do for Raffi. But like you can tell the dean's pissed at that. Like, oh, like you just look at him and you just go, you really had to say that? Really? And then Arnold says a little something, like he gets up and is like, oh, thank you guys for having me. Like, I hope I fit in, but, like, thank you so much for considering me for this role. Like, Arnold is just so adorable. Tua and Arnold are chatting, and I think Dean is like, I don't think he's trying to listen, but Dean is sitting right there, so he's like listening whether he wants to or not. Anyways, Tua's talking to Arnold and it's like, hey, if you drink a little too much, like it's fine, like you can just crash here, like don't stress. And Arnold's like, nah, it's all right, like, I haven't drunk that much. And then Tua again is like, well, if you drink too much, like you shouldn't ride on your motorcycle, like you can just stay here, it's fine. And I was like, no, 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 like I know, like don't worry, if I do get a little bit too drunk, I'll just call a ride instead. Arnold goes away, leaving Tua and Dean alone. So Dean's like, oh, look at you go, getting your crush in the project. And Tua gets a little shy at that. And then Dean's trying to help Tua get Arnold. And you know what? I genuinely think this is one of the moments where Dean is just being nice out of the goodness of his own heart, which I never thought that I would say. But Teen and Dua are friends. And two is not doing anything that Dean doesn't like. He's not trying to get in the way of Dean trying to get back with Jack. And he's not, doing anything with the whole Raffi thing. Like, yeah, there was in last episode where Tua was like, oh, you got to admit that Raffi's acting is improved. But it's not as if Tua's like best friends with Raffi now or anything like that. So Tua and Dean are surprisingly really good mates. Like, just really good mates. And so I weirdly want to say I think that Dean is trying to help Tua get Arnold. Actually, weirdly, out of the kindness of his own heart, I think, which never expected I'd be saying. But Tua and Dean are mates. And so Dean has this idea and he's like, I think you need to get Arnold to kiss you. And Tua's like, whoa. It's like, yeah, but like if he kisses you back, then you know he likes you back. Like, hello, like simple, simple. Like he made sense. um, and then kind of like it's like, hey, like you should drink. You need to build up the courage. You're not drunk enough yet for this. And basically like feeds to alcohol. But I think Raffi loves a smoke too. He goes outside and he asks Dean, can I light my cigarette from yours? And that's exactly what he does. So they're chatting, and Jack first goes, oh, have you read the script? What do you think? And Raffi's like, yeah, I've read it, but like, I don't know if I can pull it off. Like, he's just, he's being a little doubtful, nervous. And again, Jack is just so nice and reassuring. Like, no, it's all right. Like, I believe in you. I think you've got this. Like, I definitely think you've got this. And one thing I noticed, and this is a tiny tangent, Jack's having a white wine. I feel like I never see that. I feel like I never see. Usually, if a BL character is drinking wine, it's always red. There's a scene later where you can see Dean's drinking a wine and it's red, but I feel like you never see white wine in BLs. I think, I don't know, my theory is sometimes from afar, because a white wine is so light in color, it might just look like water, and then like maybe some people may think that they're not even drinking alcohol or something. I don't know. I don't know why that's really an issue, but I kind of just noticed it. Not that this is even a thing, but I was kind of just like, oh, he's having a white wine. I feel like I never say that. It's always red. It is always red. So it was interesting. But honestly, it was good because sometimes I was just a bit like, so no one likes white wine or something or other. I don't know. It was just something I noticed and I thought it was unique and different. I was like, you know what? That's actually cool, unique, and different. But like, that's the end of my tangent. Let's get back to the show. Rome is watching Raffi and Jack have a conversation through the window and he's a little annoyed just because, again, like, oh, what's so special about Jack? Because like Rome likes Raffi, but Raffi's not reciprocating those feelings just yet. Anyways, Dean notices and he comes over and, and like notices what Rome is noticing, but he's annoyed for a different reason because Dean wants Jack. So Rome's like, oh, like, what's so special about Jack? Like, what does everyone see in him? And Dean's like, yeah, you picked the wrong person to ask because I love the man. And Rome's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I kind of asked the wrong guy. But Dean like notices anyone is like, so you want Raffi? I'll get you Raffi. I'll serve him up for you on a fucking silver platter. Whether you take him or not, it's up to you. But I'll serve him up for you. How about that? And like it's so cute because Rome's like, ooh, like, possessive or something. Basically Dean's like, yeah, I don't want anyone else to have Jack because I am possessive. Dean's plan is to get Jack away from Raffi, and it's killing two birds with one stone because it means that Dean can have some alone time with Jack, but it's serving Raffi up for Rome just like Dean said that he would. So Dean goes out to where Raffi and Jack are chatting and is like, hey, like, I made that poster for you, like, it's ready for you, but you gotta come with me to get it. And Jack's like, why can't you just go get it and bring it back to me? Like, I'm in the middle of something. And Dean's very incessant, like, no, just come with me. And so Jack gives in. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, like I gotta go with Dean, like, oh, like I'm sorry, like I gotta go. Which leaves Raffi all by himself. Jack goes to Dean's room as requested, and Dean does give him the poster. And then Jack decides that maybe it's his turn to mess with Dean a little bit. So this is a screen grab of a couple of frames because I thought that this was one of the most like hottest and teasing like Jackson menace actually this time because he basically makes Dean think that they're gonna have some fun. He's unbuttoning his shirt slightly, pushing him down onto the bed, being quite erotic with this poster, like rubbing it around his crotch area, rubbing it up his neck or whatever. But then what he does instead is he takes the poster roll and knocks him on the head with it. And he's just like, whoa, like what the fuck? What was that for? Like, ow. And Dean's like, yeah, so we're not gonna have sex. Basically, Dean was like, I never lose. And so Jack was like, I think I can make you lose. And make him lose, he does. And then just ends with, as for the poster, I'll transfer you the money. Tua and Arnold can be seen having another chat, but they're both more significantly drunk at this point. They're just like slurring their words slightly. I actually more so think Arnold than Tua. Arnold's making himself another drink where it's like, should he really be doing that? But at least he knows like he'll get himself a ride or he'll just take the offer and crash at Tua's. Anyways, this is Tua's moment. He's working up the courage to ask for a little kissy kiss. Basically tells Arnold, because Arnold is still like he's slightly worried about having to kiss Dean and stuff. And Tua's like, why don't you just try kissing me? See what it's like. You've never kissed a dude before. Like, just kiss me. Like, it won't hurt. Just give it a go. And so, okay, so Arnold doesn't explicitly say yes, but he doesn't explicitly say no either. And I just think this might be a little bit dubious because, like, they're drunk and stuff like that. Anyways, Tua takes silence is like, I'm going to go for it. So he kisses Arnold and we get this cute moment. They kiss for a bit, nothing heavy like that. It is literally just a kiss. And then they pull away and Tua's like, so how was that? Like, what'd you think? And Tua's obviously hoping that Arnold had a good time, considering Tua has a crush on him. And then Arnold doesn't really know how to feel about it. He's just like, oh, wow. So, like, we kissed. Like, he doesn't really know how he's supposed to feel, and it's definitely not how Tua was hoping he'd feel. Remember earlier when I said that Dean was going to help Rome serve Raffi up to him on a silver platter? This is it. This is it. Rome finds Raffi alone and takes his chance, basically wanting to know if he would consider having another one night stand. But granted, if he has another one, it's no longer a one night stand. This is entering friends with benefits territory. But the thing is I wouldn't necessarily say that they're friends. Though I can't say enemies with benefits either because I don't think they're enemies. Like, if anyone was going to be enemies with benefits, it'd be Dean and Raffi. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know what to call it. Like, just people that one likes the other, one slightly dislikes the other, and they're having benefits. I don't know how else to describe this. And it's quite easy for Raffi to give in because he basically just goes, if I have sex with you one more time, will you tell Jack about it? And Rome's like, ew, like, why? No, I have no reason to tell Jack about it. I like to keep, you know, like I want to keep you all to myself sort of vibes is what Rome's getting on with. So they have sex in Rome's car, which I don't know how that's really possible. I saw this post online one time and it was like the logistics of car sex, and it was actually fucking hilarious because you see car sex a lot written in books or in TV shows and that, but then it's like, how does that actually work? Like, there isn't a ton of space in a car, like, especially if you're going to do it in the front seat, blah, blah, blah. But you know what, we're just going to forget all of that because the scene was hot. So, yeah, Rome and Raffi, they have sex again. Boston has returned, people. So we go back to the main party where somebody rings the doorbell and Timmy's like, someone came to the party this extremely late? Like, really? Like, who's that at this hour? And so Tua says that he'll get it. Boston walks in. Boston walks his cute little ass in. Basically, he and Jack are friends because Jack's like, oh my god, American boy, you made it. Because if we remember at the end of Only Friends Season 1, Boston said that he was going to move to New York. I think he just needed a bit of a fresh start after all of the madness that happened in Only Friends Season 1. But Jack and Boston are friends. So Jack happily welcomes him to the party. However, there were two facial expressions that we need to discuss because most people are just like, oh yeah, okay, this Boston dude, like, whatever, like, who cares, right? Tua's expression is like, oh my god, like something's up. Something is up. Now, in this poster, I mentioned there's like this title poster in the last one where it like tells you a bit about everyone. Boston and Tua are exes. Boston and Tua are exes. And remember how I was like earlier in the episode where Tua was like, oh, I kissed someone, it was just some asshole? I think it was Boston. I think it was Boston because Boston and Tua are exes and you can see everything on his face. Tua is not happy that Boston is back. Now, the other face that we need to pan to is Dean because Dean knows. Dean knows because I know that Tua and Arnold are friends, but I feel like Tua and Dean are deeper friends because Arnold didn't act like he knew who Boston was and that it was terrible that he was back. But you look at Dean's face and Dean's like, oh shit, like, oh, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good. Like, Dean knows. It's giving Tua has confided in Dean at some point about Boston because he's not happy that Boston's back either. So, like, I'm genuinely, like, really here for and curious about Tua and Dean's friendship. Like, it feels different from the friendship of Tua and Arnold. You do see a little snippet for next episode where I think Tua tells Arnold about Boston. But I don't think Arnold knows in this very moment. Oh, but Dean knows. Dean knows that something is up. And that is the end of the episode. Radio time for thoughts, feelings, and or predictions, also discussing some of the stuff that I said last week. I think the main thing was me giving first impressions on these characters. Also, I really wanted to know why Dean and Jack broke up and maybe thought that we'd find out in this episode. We don't. We did get a little backstory to their relationships, kind of, like, 'cause they had that 2 years ago thing in the beginning of the episode, so that was cute, but we are still yet to find out why Jack and Dean broke up. Like, we still don't know that yet, which I am still very intrigued. Like, I need to know why they ended. And then so last week I was just talking about like my first impressions and things. What I want to mainly talk about is Rome, just for a hot minute, because in last week's episode I was like, I don't actually know how I feel about Rome. So I had first impressions for most characters. But I was like, ooh, like, but Rome's like mysterious and I don't know how I feel about him yet. I think I can kind of gather how I feel about him now. And obviously feelings can change and I can change my mind anytime I like. But for now, I think we do like Rome. He's just got a crush on Raffi and just enjoys spending time with her. Like, I don't really think that there's anything too sus about Rome at this moment. Like, the only sus thing I can think about is that he teamed up with Dean. But otherwise, I think Rome's pretty safe, like, as of now. That could change, but for now, I think Rome is pretty safe. Basically, Rome, Arnold, Tua are safe. Raffi, Dean, Jack are not safe. Basically, oh my god. Dean, no, Dean surprised me this episode with some kind of like nice moments from him, because all throughout the first episode, I was like, oh, okay, like he's not a good person. But like his friendship with Tua, I really like his friendship with Tua. Like, I just think that that is so, like, I love it. And so Dean actually had some nice scenes with Tua. Like when he was saying, like, oh, you should consider kissing Arnold and things like genuinely just trying to help Tua get with Arnold and stuff. Like, it kind of made me go, okay, Dean, maybe I kind of like you. Kind of. Obviously, because there are so many unsafe things about him and his possessiveness towards Jack and stuff. But I like his friendship with Tua. I'm just going to say that. I like his friendship with Tua. I just love Tua. Tua, honestly, I don't know who my favourite character in this series is, but tell me why I think it's either Dean or Tua. I think either Dean or Tua might be my favourite character out of the main six. Arnold's like up there as well, but I think either Dean or Tua at the moment. And it might change. I might like every week be like, who's my favourite character right now? I think at the moment it's either Dean or Tua. I don't know. It's either of the two. It's probably just both of them, let's be real. I can pick more than one. I'm loving Dean and Tua right now. So now I haven't spoken about Raffi yet. I feel like Raffi this episode, I don't know. Like, not a lot of. Okay, I was about to just be like, not of a lot of important plot stuff involved Raffi this episode, but I'm like, yeah, but Raffi is part of the main six. And, like, actually, no, it is plot important because this show is heavily romance focused, so I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, Rome and Raffi, they give in to each other again and they sleep with each other again. I think deep down, Raffi's got to have some form of feeling for Ro. Because otherwise he wouldn't sleep with him. It's not, like, he's not sleeping with Tua. He's not sleeping with Arnold. I mean, obviously, Tua and Arnold aren't offering, clearly, and he's not seeking it out either, but he's happily sleeping with Rome. Happily. So, like, there's got to be something that you can't tell me that you've got zero feelings for a guy that you were sleeping with. I'm not saying you have to be in love with the guy, but there's got to be some form of a connection because, like, surely you're not just going to sleep with everyone. I know that boys are different from girls and, you know, I get it. But, like, there's got to be something. Like, you got to at least think that Rome is hot. Or even like, yeah, you just like at a basis level, you think the man is good looking. Surely you got to give yourself like a reason to sleep with the guy, right? Surely. Um, Jack was very interesting this episode, especially at the end with Boston, because I know that in that title poster that I've mentioned before, it does say that Jack and Boston are friends. But I am very curious and intrigued about that friendship because basically, two of the things with Boston I'm very intrigued about are the fact that he is friends with Jack and he used to date Tua, or maybe it was a situationship with Tua, because I doubt he actually dated Tua. Because here's the thing, because in the first season of Only Friends, it was Boston and Nick. They were friends with benefits. Then it kind of turned into a situationship. Boston tried to settle down for Nick and be monogamous, but then that didn't really last that long because he kissed Boeing at a club. Nick finds out, and that's kind of what ultimately ends Boston and Nick together. And so there's two ways that it could go. Boston just decides to go back to his old ways, or Boston decides that he is going to be monogamous from now on, just not with Nick. And I don't know which one is true. Did he try and be monogamous with Tua, or did he go back to his old ways? So Tua and Boston had like a situationship. They were just friends with benefits, sort of like, was it him and Nick again, but Tua instead? I don't know. We are going to find out, of course, at some point. I don't know when we'll find out. I'm hoping we find out soonish because I would genuinely really like to know. So that's really it. Again, I am curious to see how the play gets on because we did have a couple of scenes in the beginning of like Arnold rehearsing and stuff. But we haven't had any proper rehearsal scenes yet. I think that's going to be next episode. Because in this episode, in like the first 10 minutes or so, like Jack hadn't even casted yet, but then we had that scene with the banners and stuff like that. Most of this episode was heavily surrounded that pre-production party thrown at Tua's house. You can't tell me that Tua's not rich, okay? You can't. And with the whole last episode, it was like I came financially prepared and stuff like that. But that's really it on my thoughts, feelings, and or predictions. I feel like, look, the episodes just keep getting better and better though, because I feel like this episode I was like, oh my god, like how is it even messier than the first one? But yeah, that's it for my thoughts, feelings, and or predictions. Again, I still want to know why Dean and Jack broke up. Like, let me know. I also want to know, are Rome and Rafi going to start, like, is this going to be their thing? Like, they don't necessarily date, but they, have fun? Like, I want to know. But I want to know if maybe them having fun turns into them being together. Like, Rafi still has that crush on Jack, but Rome still has that crush on Rafi. And I wonder how that's going to turn out. So I'm very interested with all of that situation there. And yep, that's basically it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe down below because I will be uploading one of these every single week for this show. And I'm considering also doing it for other shows. So let me know. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.